What's up, Fractal family? This is Steve Sterlacci, and today we are looking at how we can use our ToneX in the FM9 for pretty much the ultimate guitar rig, the ultimate direct solution, if you will. So before we even get started, I know that there's going to be a lot of people that go, "Oh, well, the FM9 is perfect, the Fractal is perfect, why do we need the ToneX?" Okay, yeah, I get it. The FM9 models are awesome, Fractal models are awesome. Yes, we know that, but the reason that something like the ToneX can come into play for a Fractal user is based on their studio setup. For example, what I'm going to be doing today, I have my matchless Samson era DC30 here. I have my Soldano SLO30, my vintage Fender Bassman, and this is all going through my mics, my mic preamps, and going through my workflow as far as what I do in the studio. And I'll show you kind of back to back what my ToneX capture of the DC30 sounds like versus the stock Fractal matchless with the same cabinet. So there is a same setup cabinet. So my setup, I mic'd up the cab with a 57 and a 121, and also in the Fractal there's I did a stereo IR or a dual IR of a 57 and a 121 on a matchless 212 cabinet. And really the only thing is that this already sounds good, and I don't need to tweak it to make it sound like it. I also think for some reason, and this isn't a knock, this isn't a bad thing about the Fractal, but I just like the way that my DC30 sounds in the direct context better than what pulls up stock. Sure, you could spend the time to tweak it and get it to that point, or you can I'd rather take the time miking it up and use what I spent all of the physical hard hours on doing this than tweaking and dragging around. So let's take a look at what exactly I'm talking about here. We're also going to build a little bit of a preset from scratch here, which is going to be fun. So I'm going to be putting on my Audio-Technica M50s, looking for my pick. And here in the preset, you could see that I got my D30 EF86 channel, which is what I have next to me. I've got my two cabs, just the stock ones, ultra res, and even if I try to get this close to what I'm hearing and what my actual settings are on the amp. Like for when I use a Tele, I crank the chicken head tone knob on the DC30 all the way up. Normally I have the high cut all the way up here on the real amp, but you can hear what this sounds like. So it's really mean sounding, even with the gain at 1.1. And now if I go to my Scene 2 and I engage my ToneX, this is the actual capture of my matchless. And that's really more representative of what my setup sounds like because it's a capture of my actual setup. And again, I could spend the time tweaking that amp and cabinet to sound like this, but I honestly don't think that I would get close enough to be happy with just based on what I have. Let me switch back to Scene 1, disengage the ToneX. Maybe that's a little bit closer. Let's try that. I think that low E, just hear that. It's not that there's anything wrong with the FM9 version, but it's just a little bit boxy sounding to me, in my opinion. And again, I could take the time to dial that in, or I could just use my rig. And again, that's why I emphasize that a lot, because I'm not saying that the FM9 sounds bad in the matchless world, but my setup, my mic chain, my workflow, in my opinion, that's what I want to sound like because I made it. So I want it to sound like mine does in my studio, and I think the ToneX is able to do that much quicker. Anyway, let's talk about some of the stuff that we could do with this. And by the way, the effects loop in the Fractal just sounds great. I mean, even just by itself, this just sounds perfect. Another reason that I think using the ToneX with the FM9 or the FM3 in particular is really great because we can't do the tone match capture stuff that the XFX3 can. I would love one day for them to put that into the FM9, because that was one of the big selling features for Fractal. And when I first got my notification to buy it, I just bought it. I didn't even read about it. But I was hoping that this would do the tone capture, which obviously it doesn't. But now incorporating the ToneX, it's a pretty cool option to have within your Fractal. And now you have unlimited. You're not going to run out of DSP doing anything with the ToneX and the effects loop. So here at the top chain here, I'm going to have my preamp section, and also this is my easy view template. I have a whole video on that, by the way. So there, I'll put that little compressor there. I think that sounds pretty good. Now we got to get some sort of a drive section here. I definitely want the precision drive as a solo boost, so I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to bypass that for now. Then let's get drive 2. Something more natural and something low gainy, I think, would be where I want to go with this one. Let's use the new bosom boost that's on here. I know that I'm going to want that low. I'm going to leave the EQ normal, and the level's already cranked up. I actually really like that as a good starting point. Let's go with the post section. Let's throw a reverb on here. London plate, and see how. Yep, that's a nice reverb. That's just stock pulling out some of that. Let's throw in a delay here. I'm just going to go with a Leon Todd one here. If you haven't downloaded Leon Todd's block library, I highly recommend it because it's awesome, and it's probably the best effects that you'll get out of your Fractal, and they're already dialed in. He works really, really hard at getting these sounding great, and he's way better at this stuff than any of us mere mortals will be. So since that's 100% mix, I'm going to throw that in parallel loop there, and this should be now my lead delay. Cool, so that'll be like my big solo, and then I'm also going to throw my delay 2 on here, and I'm going to make this like a little slapback using the DM2. Bring that down to there. Whoops, we don't want negative 100, we want... And we want that high mix, and we want high cut to be way down. So I want a really dark repeat. Works really nice with the London Hall plate. Just a really nice slapback sound. I mean, every telly needs a little bit of a slapback. Sounds perfect to me. And now let's take this basic setup and let's build some scenes. So let's make scene 1. This will just be my totally clean with a little bit of a slapback. Scene 2, I might not even use the compressor. I'm kind of happy without it, to be honest. Will be the Buxom boost and the slapback. And then we'll build scene 3 to be a lead scene, where I'm going to bring these up. These are just kind of settings I use on my real precision drive. So hopefully this sounds like a decent rock solo here. So we're going to call that my lead. This we'll call edge of breakup. And one will be clean. We're also going to name this the ToneX FM9. So now I've got my 3 scenes on the floor. Edge of breakup. And my lead. Alright, so that does it for building a basic preset around your existing ToneX captures. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and got something out of this. Hopefully you can use this. If you have a ToneX, I have this capture available on my website if you want to check it out. And thanks for watching. If you made it this far in the video, I will see you in the next one.